Have you ever wondered what the hardest trucking job on Earth might look like? Not hauling a rocket, not moving a giant ship. Imagine being asked to transport a wind turbine blade that's nearly the length of a football field through some of China's most dangerous mountain roads. The reward? A $1 million UN contract. The challenge? One wrong move could send a 30-ton load plunging into a canyon. This isn't a Hollywood action movie. It's a real engineering mission deep inside the Daliang Mountains of China's Sichuan province. A journey that covered only about 200 kilometers, roughly 125 miles, but took an astonishing 30 days to complete. And by the end, you'll understand why every single mile had to be earned. The mission began at a manufacturing base operated by Dongfeng Electric, where enormous wind turbine components are built before being shipped to wind farms across the country. Waiting at the factory were 3 massive turbine blades, each stretched about 98 meters or over 320 feet long and weighed around 30 tons. Moving something this large isn't as simple as attaching it to a truck. In fact, an ordinary trailer wouldn't even make it past the first mountain turn. Instead, engineers used a highly specialized blade-lifting transporter. This enormous machine weighed about 180 tons by itself and featured an advanced multi-axle design that spread the weight across 8 axles. More importantly, it could lift, rotate, and tilt the blade a full 360 degrees using hydraulic systems. That single feature would become the difference between success and failure. The convoy left during off-peak traffic hours to reduce disruption for local communities. But almost immediately, problems appeared. Because of the extreme length of the transporter, the rear-wheel steering system malfunctioned during an early maneuver. The crew had to switch to front-wheel steering and carefully reverse multiple times while 3 people worked together. One driving, one operating the hydraulic controls, and one acting as a spotter outside the vehicle. Every movement had to be measured in inches. Once the convoy entered the Daliang Mountains, the real challenge began. The roads twisted around steep cliffs with almost no margin for error. On one side stood towering rock walls. On the other, sheer drops stretching hundreds of feet into the valleys below. Many of the curves looked impossible, yet somehow, the giant blades had to pass through each one. Instead of forcing the truck around tight corners, operators raised and rotated the blade high into the air, changing its angle until it could squeeze through the bend. Watching it happen almost feels like watching a giant mechanical arm solving a puzzle in real time. But steering wasn't the only obstacle waiting ahead. High-voltage transmission lines crossed the route again and again. The blade couldn't come too close to the power lines, so operators constantly adjusted its height and angle while carefully monitoring safe clearance distances. Sometimes it took several hours just to move a few hundred meters because every adjustment had to be perfect. And all of this happened while traffic police, escort vehicles, and engineering teams coordinated every step. Entire sections of road had to be temporarily closed. Civilian vehicles were guided around the convoy whenever possible. Sometimes drivers accidentally entered the restricted transport zone. Since the mountain roads were too narrow for vehicles to pass each other, the transport crew often had to convince those drivers to carefully reverse long distances before the convoy could continue. Progress was painfully slow. On certain stretches, 2 full hours of work resulted in only 2 or 3 kilometers of travel. By late afternoon, everyone was exhausted. There were no restaurants or convenience stores high in the mountains. Workers simply opened boxed meals beside the road, surrounded by dust, heavy machinery, and steep mountain cliffs. Then they climbed right back into their vehicles. Safety rules were absolute. Every day, the convoy operated only between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. Driving after dark wasn't an option. Raising the blade created enormous blind spots, and nighttime visibility would make even minor contact with rocks, poles, or trees incredibly dangerous. Even on the relatively smooth first day, the convoy managed to travel only about 28 kilometers, and things were about to become much harder. As the convoy climbed deeper into the mountains, steep grades became increasingly common. Nearly 1/3 of the route consisted of long uphill climbs. Powerful mountain winds created another unexpected danger. The giant blades acted almost like enormous sails, placing tremendous stress on the securing equipment. Crews had to stop regularly and inspect every connection, tightening restraints before continuing. Then nature added another obstacle. Near Mianya Mountain Pass, sitting over 3,200 meters above sea level, thick fog suddenly rolled in. Visibility dropped dramatically, No one knew what waited beyond the next curve. Instead of pushing forward, the convoy stopped completely. Crew members first cleared traffic congestion, then sent scouts ahead to inspect road conditions inside the fog. Only after confirming it was safe did the convoy slowly continue. Ironically, once they crossed the mountain ridge, clear skies returned almost immediately. But the next challenge was already waiting. The road ahead became narrower than ever. On one side stood towering electrical poles carrying high-voltage power lines. On the other, the mountain itself pressed tightly against the road. There was barely enough space for the blade to pass. This is exactly why specialized blade-lifting transporters were chosen instead of standard trailers. Operators carefully tilted and rotated the blade, threading it through the tiny opening with only inches to spare. Without that hydraulic rotation system, the mission would have ended right there. Later that day, another delay appeared. Bridge maintenance crews had temporarily closed part of the route. Rather than waste time, the transport team parked safely, allowed civilian traffic behind them to clear, and used the unexpected break to eat lunch while waiting for repairs to finish. Every hour mattered. Yet, safety always came first. When the day's work finally ended, someone calculated the total progress. After 10 straight hours of driving, coordinating, stopping, adjusting, inspecting, waiting, and maneuvering, the convoy had advanced only 11 kilometers. 11. For most people, that's a distance you could drive in less than 15 minutes. For this team, it represented an entire day's achievement. Day after day, the same routine continued. Hairpin turns, steep climbs, power lines, bridge crossings, traffic control, constant inspections. No shortcuts, no rushing, no room for mistakes. Eventually, after an entire month, the convoy finally reached its destination. More than 4,000 meters above sea level, high in the clouds, the massive blades were lifted into position and assembled into towering wind turbines. What had started as oversized cargo at a factory became part of a clean energy project capable of supplying electricity to thousands of homes across the Daliang Mountains. When people see wind turbines spinning peacefully on distant mountain ridges, they rarely think about how those blades arrived there. They don't see the countless hours spent crawling around impossible corners, the crews working in freezing mountain air, or the engineers calculating every inch of clearance between a 98-meter blade and a high-voltage power line. But behind every turbine turning in the wind is a story like this, a story of patience, precision, teamwork, and extraordinary engineering. Sometimes, the most incredible part of renewable energy isn't the electricity it produces. It's the unbelievable journey required just to bring the equipment to the top of the mountain.